What's going on, everyone? Let's talk about Todd Begg and the Citadel primarily. I have in, and this is nothing new to Todd Begg or Mark Begg knives, Begg knives in general. They have done custom knives and production knives made overseas. It's a known thing. It's not a secret. They have the bodega. This is their, bubble inlay. They called it a little bit. This has a G10 inlays. Then they had the little bit more fancy custom engraved inlays that are smooth. Makes it overall a little bit thinner. And then they had the Steelcraft series, which was their production version made overseas. They were in the 400 to 500 range. This one, I think, brand new was like 850. This was like 3,000, give or take, whatever, right? But you can see a little bit of similarity here in the DNA between these early model bodegas and the current iteration of the Citadel from Todd Begg. Not to be confused with Mark Begg. There's two different things. I've talked about that in other videos. I have a Begg playlist to go look. So let's take these bodegas and set them off to the side for the moment. And let's talk about the Citadel. We have a custom version made by Todd by hand, one of his early ones that my buddy Chris bought from Todd directly at a show. I don't remember exactly what show it was. It was a kind of a regional show in Texas, if I remember. And then we've got a production version made by Artisan Cutlery and comes in substantially less. But it's almost the same. I wished I had a Steelcraft bodega, because there is a big difference, and there is no mistaking a regular bodega and a Steelcraft bodega. They're very different. They're very similar in shape, but materials, the look, like from a mile away, you can tell the difference. From about 18 inches, it's hard to tell the difference here between the custom and the production. The custom was just over $4,000. The production, you can still find them today. Knife Center happens to be one retailer. They're $450. There are some subtle differences, and we're going to talk about that. We're not going to go into all of the specs because the specs are almost identical. The blade length is a little bit shorter on the production. The blade steel is a little bit different. Spec-wise, that's it. Everything else is the same. The finish is a little bit different. This is the production model at $450. It's the War Junkie production line. This is the custom at $4,000. Now, the blade shape changed slightly. There is a recurve here on the custom, and there is not on the production. I wish there was on the production. Having had both of these now for about a week, or two, maybe, since I've done the unboxing. I have spent time with both of these. And we'll talk later in the video which one I think I would want if I was going to run out and buy one. Would I spend $4,000 or would I spend $450? Let's get into the differences. Zoom in a little bit. I think one of the first things you're going to notice, and I hope it's coming up on camera, is The custom is a mirror polished frame, mirror polished blade. Like everything is just higher polish, even the carbon fiber. Where on the production version, everything is more matte, satined, kind of just more muted. Down to the pocket clip. There's no jeweling, there's no machining, where there is the signature jeweled ice look of the custom. The custom also, inside, you can see the liners are jeweled. The backspacer is jeweled. Engine turned, if you will, from old school machining days. You know, so there's a lot more bling on the custom. The fit and finish of the inlay in the blade is a little bit better on the custom than on the production. It's really hard to get video of a mirror polish blade. You're seeing the reflection of the LED lights up above. But as we zoom in and you see the fit and finish is just immaculate. Yeah, you're going to see some fingerprints already because the mirror polish gets that. That's part of the problem. Now, when Chris first bought this and talked with Todd at the show, maybe even before he picked it up, I told him, look, tell Todd that he needs a field grade version of this knife. That's what people are going to want. Something a little more subdued. Something not quite as bling. Not many people we do like the mirror polish blade, but I think we want users. We want stuff that we're not going to get all fingerprinted up and marred up and scratched up just carrying it. I know for me, I am not a big mirror polish blade guy. You look at it wrong, you get some scratches in it. You open and close it a couple times, you got fingerprints all over it. Now, there's nothing wrong with the inlay of the production. You can just feel it. You can feel the seams a little bit more than you can on the custom. Okay. There's a little nuance there is on the blade. The custom has 4 or 5 little dots, whereas the production is just a single piece of carbon fiber in the blade. Something I've learned from Chris, the owner of the custom, is that the pivot works its way loose after about a dozen opens and closes. So he constantly is having to kind of adjust that. On a $4,000 knife, that shouldn't be the case. It also has a little bit of a lockup problem or lack of lockup problem. It barely, you can see here, and I'm not going to try to talk a lot of smack, but the lock bar barely goes in and it doesn't really lock up. I've adjusted the pivot. I've played with it a little bit and I can't get it to lock up. The lockup is much more substantial here on the production. The action on the production is fantastic. They both run on bearings. You can see here the action is just superb. It's not drop shut, but it's quick and done. Custom, a little bit more sluggish on the fire and not quite as, you got to give it some shake love. They both feel amazing in the hand. The pocket clip on the custom is a little bit more difficult to put in your pocket. The production just goes in and out of the pocket, no problem. It's great. Now, I've talked to Mark, who's the owner of this guy, and he reluctantly sent it to me because he hadn't had it out of his pocket for 3 or 4 days after he bought it. Got a bunch of pictures on Instagram and all that, Facebook and all that good stuff with it. I like the look, the shape, the design. I really do like. I like the $450 price better than the $4,000 price, just as a general thing out there. Not that I don't have several knives in the 4,000 plus range. So it's not that I'm afraid to spend $4,000 on a knife. I really like the production version because it's more muted. I think that in my mind, I think this is the knife that Todd should have made himself. A little bit more subdued. He should have that. He should have an option to get a field grade type knife. And if you're not familiar with that, when he made the bodegas before, there was a field grade bodega that was all carbon fiber frame or just all G10. Some of them didn't have any fluting in the blade. It was a much, I don't want to say lower end, but it wasn't as fancy. Less hand work, and you could buy a field grade for, $600 instead of $800 type of thing. And this goes back years. Pricing was way different. So I think that I would like to see Todd have an option, still getting the handmade with the recurve, but in a satin blade and a blasted frame. Maybe you still get all of the jeweling because I like that. I like the blue screws. Maybe offer some color options because I like the pop of the carbon fiber better than the pop of the carbon fiber on the production. But maybe options. But that wasn't an option back then. And Chris talked to him about making a couple of field grades for us and trying to come up with something a little under $4,000, like a $3,000 user type knife. But he had bigger plans to come out with a $450 production user knife, which I think is cool also. I wish it had a recurve. If we're going to make it almost identical, make it identical. Or radically change it so that it doesn't look as close to the custom as it does. And if you look at the Steelcraft bodega versus a regular bodega, they're night and day different. But these are very, very similar. I think the production is too close to the custom. There's not enough differentiation for me. All right, so I've rambled on. And I think I've covered most of the things I wanted to talk about. But down below, please ask me any questions you have. I'm going to have these here for a little while still. Mark is out of town this week, so he said, don't even ship it back to me the week that I'm filming. So wait till he gets back. So I'll have this probably, I don't know. I think this is going to air in about a week, so maybe I won't have it still. But I think I will. Is that just some dirt on the pivot or is that it's just a little bit of dirt. Because that's what happens. You get some dust and lint and just some fingerprint stuff. So let me know your comments down below. I would love to hear and just chat about, should a production be so similar to the custom? I don't know. At 10 times the price, roughly. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear. Chris and Mark, thank you very much for both sending these in at the same time so I could really compare these and make up a personal decision on my own if I would want either of these. So thanks, everybody. I greatly appreciate it. I know I kind of rambled a little bit there, but I thought there was a lot to talk about in these two knives. Have a great day, and please go check out my Begg playlist over here for all of the Beggs that I have owned. I've Had about 15 of them at one point. I'm down to, I think, 4 or 5 now. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day.